The impending all-digital future in gaming is a matter that caused somewhat of a divide between gamers. Some consider this to be the proper way forward in gaming, while some might not be too sold on this just yet. Join us today as we settle this rather controversial debate, and you might ask yourself, why are we doing this? Well, that's because this is a hot topic. What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Game Sandwich Hot Topic. And I'm joined today by a familiar face. Why don't you say what's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm John Hansen, one of the writers for Game Sandwich, and I'm ready to talk about digital stuff.
Oof, we got a good one. This is one of those topics we've kept in the oven, so to speak, here. But in case you are new to Hot Topic, the rules are simple. We're gonna flip this here coin, and we're gonna defend or go against the topic at hand. In this case, heads today will be digital. You're gonna defend the digital nature of gaming, and tails, physical media all the way. Now, I'm gonna commandeer the coin first. Normally I pass it off to the guest, but I'm feeling, I don't know what the word is. I'm feeling different today.
All right.
So
go for it.
we're gonna flip the coin. Let's see what I'm defending here. And I will be defending digital media. Okay.
All right.
Oh, this is weird because as I write these notes, I find I'm more opposed to something than I am for. So we'll cross that bridge. But up first, I kind of want to ask you, are you more of a digital gamer or are you physical?
I am all digital, and I have been for a while. So probably before the pandemic, I was working at a couple of game stores. One called Disc Replay, and I also spent some time at GameStop. And working through them, of course, you got discounts on physical media. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll still do this here. But around that time, especially when I left those places, is when I really got into digital gaming. And I was like, okay, I just never looked back. I don't get any physical games anymore. The only physical games I have right now are retro. I've got some Nintendo 64 games and GameCube games and Super Nintendos, but like anything from the last generation or current on PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox, it's all digital.
I miss the old days where like those cartridges for the N64, they were colored, they were see-through. It's those little things. I'm a simple person. I just like colors in my cartridges. I wish Pokemon would do this again with their games, even though they're the little like SD cards. Make them green, make them purple, do whatever, please. Just throw me a bone here. But I wanted to ask you, because we're coming up on next gen, apparently the rumors have been swirling. If these companies like Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo, for whatever reason, they decide to drop a system that just doesn't have a disk drive, is that going to make you feel indifferent, or is it more or less, I don't care at this point, we're doing this is where it's going?
Me personally, I wouldn't care. But I know there are tons of people out there that would care. And for that reason, I would be against it. I think it doesn't make much sense to section off such a large portion of your community. Even if it's just a small piece of the pie in the grand scheme of things, we know that digital sales far outweigh the physical ones lately. That's why GameStop is struggling forever now. Like, their only real claim to fame in the last 5 years was a meme on the stock exchange area. Without that, who knows where they would be right now. And they're still failing. So yeah, I think there's enough people right now that still like their physical games that you still have to put the disc drive in there, but that number is progressively shortening up as we go along.
So I did a Game Bite earlier last week talking about Star Wars Outlaws, and I brought up this little tweet from Matt Piscatella, and he was talking about sales numbers for physical versus digital, and apparently physical software accounted for 10% of all US video game content across like console, portable, PC, cloud, and all that fun stuff. In 2023, apparently that percentage fell under 5%. So there is a trend, it's going somewhere, and with the console thing we were just talking about, I'm one of those people where, like, I got the Series X and I download all my games. I think for me, I would get nervous, or I don't know what the word is, heading into it, where it's like, I'm committing fully to digital here. Even though I already am, I would like the option, like, hey, if Fallout drops this special edition thing where there's a giant helmet I can throw in the background of this video that looks cool, I would kind of want that. I don't know how they handle the whole thing. I think with 76, they had a problem where they shipped like the special edition thing, but it didn't have a bag. That's a whole other...
The whole bag situation was hilarious, but yeah. It was a nylon bag instead of a something else bag.
It was like a knapsack or like
something. The fabric like was wrong or something, yeah.
It's the little things, apparently. But I think this whole thing, this whole digital physical thing, it's kind of like with the iPhone when it got rid of the headphone jack. At first, people were like, I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe it. It's so bad. This is going to ruin everything. And here we are. I use Bluetooth headphones. I use the regular lightning port. It's just kind of a thing where you gotta rip the Band-Aid off, essentially. But it's more nuanced, I feel, especially with game ownership, preservation. Those are the key words we're going to hit today. But now that I got all the questions out of the way, unless you have something to add here, let's debate this topic.
Let's go.
So, I'm going to pass it off to you first, since I took the coin.
Okay. So, I am defending physical media. I'm saying why you should still care about physical media. And the big thing there is the game ownership topic that you just brought up. Digital games can be taken away from a storefront at any time. Like, Knockout City is a game from recent years that I really enjoyed. That game, did it start out free to play or did it go free to play? At some point it was free to play and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a underrated game. What really screwed it over was its announcement trailer. That's a different conversation though. I really enjoyed Knockout City. After about a year and a half, maybe 2 years of being live, they split away from EA, tried going on their own, but the numbers weren't coming in. They shut it down forever. There is no possible way to play that game right now. And this conversation also goes into a bit of the online-only nature of gaming right now as well. But just focusing on the physical media part of it, there were no physical disc made for Knockout City. There is no way for me to go out there and grab it and be like, hey, I can't even display it anywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm a big collector, but if I wanted to, I can't just like get a Knockout City case and be like, yeah, remember how great this was? Like, there's just nothing there. That experience is gone. The memories are kind of still there, but like, that's all you've got are the memories.
Hellblade 2. I think that's another 2 game going all digital.
It's coming up. And that one is even worse because that's a single player game that doesn't have any online functionality. That is very disappointing. Now, Xbox is doing some good work in the backwards compatibility area. They just made a new team. I wrote about it on the website that they made a new team that is focused on making sure that all their games going forward will be playable on their consoles and PC. Just making sure that these games stay relevant. That's great. That's really good from a game preservation point. But what would make that even better is if you just fucking make the disc. Like,
yep.
Just let me buy it physically if I want to. That way I don't have to download it. I mean, obviously, you still have the disc that you have to put in an installed game, so you can't just, like, jump in right away. But if my internet goes out and I don't have Hellblade 2 installed, I'm just out of luck. Like, there's just nothing there. Microsoft especially, being just the large company that it is, it's got so much money. I get that everyone is trying to cut costs nowadays, but, like, that's an area that, like, even just like a limited run would be awesome. Like, you don't have to make thousands or millions and millions of copies of it. Just make a little bit, and if people need more, make more to satisfy those needs. Like, I know you were talking about like ripping the band-aid off and just ending it, like with the headphone situation. And like, yeah, that makes sense, but like there's still people that are willing to put down more money. There's people that will buy a digital game and then buy the physical because they just want to display it. So there is still an area for these physical games to make money. It's just the same problem with so much of game development right now. It's like the costs are bloated because you're not focusing on the right thing. That's just what I think about it, though.
I have a very niche situation that describes exactly what you said. I believe it was Assassin's Creed 4, with the one with the, I want to say Connor. Was that 3? Was that 4? It gets really weird.
4 was Edward.
4 was Edward. So this is Unity.
3 was Connor.
Yeah, Unity. Oh, 3. Perfect. I have the posters all over, so I just look, and there's the Assassin's Creed I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But that game came out the same time Hurricane Sandy hit my local area, and I remember, because I'm still a massive Assassin's Creed fan. I'm like, Mom, I was in high school. I was like, I need to go get Assassin's Creed today, even though a hurricane just rolled through, everything's underwater. So we went to go get Assassin's Creed. I came home, my internet wasn't working, but I somehow still had power. In a situation today where that would have happened, and I can't install Assassin's Creed, I have to look at it. My internet was out for 10 days following that. So it's like, oh, well, I just have this paperweight for now. But yeah, no, I'm with you there. My whole argument, and I'm going to try to milk this as much as I can, ease of use. That's pretty much what this digital thing is. It's where you just kind of preload the game. Let's say Call of Duty's coming out. Gulf War, of course, that's the one that it's been rumored to be the next Call of Duty. That comes out, or they upload it on the Microsoft Store. Hey, pre-install it. This is 140 gigs. We all know file sizes are going up. But having that ability to kind of like, in this case, to kind of compare it to what you're talking about, go to GameStop the day before and get the game and kind of just prep the system for it. I think that's like, it's a luxury. It's not something you absolutely need to do. It's not. It's just the way life is. But having that ability to get the game, preload it, have it installed in case you got to move around files, because God only knows the Series X, I am moving files left and right off external drives. You got to play it off internal, whatever. But again, ease of use, having games just available. And again, like what you said, it also plays into how the company at hand handles this issue. If you go like Xbox, they're trying to do more for this backwards compatibility. But let's say Nintendo, the prime candidate here, some of those games aren't available. Like, I can't go on the eShop and download a Pokemon Blue or whatever, and it's not available. So now I gotta either go on the back market to find a game like that, like Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. I gotta look for it, and that's gonna cost me well over retail for the game itself. But yeah, ease of use for me for digital games.
Yeah, the problem though is when storefronts go down. We're seeing that just this week with the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS, because recently you would be able to, well, not recently, but the storefront for the Wii U and 3DS went down sometime last year. The online services for all those went down like this week, I think. You used to be able to buy Pokemon Blue on your Nintendo 3DS. That's just gone. But at least that game did have a physical thing, and we're sure that it's going to be re-released at some point in the future. There are games that are specifically only made for those storefronts that are just gone forever now. And that, from a game preservation point, that's awful. Obviously, indie companies aren't going to be able to always make a disc or a cartridge version of their game. When they can, that's awesome, and you should definitely support that. Limited Run is very good for that kind of stuff. They will go out and help all these indie sites like actually make physical versions, but it's just not feasible for everyone. Yeah, the physical games, how they used to be, it's just the current iteration of physical games just isn't as good as it used to be. That's just plain and simple. Obviously, we've got the ease of use with digital and all that, but now we're even getting to a point where a game like Star Wars Outlaws, which is upcoming this year, looks really good. Single player open world game. A lot of people are excited for it. Even though it has no online functionality, you have to have an internet connection to install the physical version of the game. That's just a a company being money grubbing, like just doing all they can to cut costs. And at that point, why even make the physical version? If you have to have the internet to install the game for the disc that you bought, like that disc is essentially useless. There is always that conversation of, well, nowadays the disc is just your license to let you play the game. Yeah, that's all there is now. But now when I have the physical version, is it going to let me play when I put that in, even when my internet's out? Do I have to have the internet on to play Star Wars Outlaws? Like, that's a big problem. Mm-hmm. And it's going to really turn some people away from Outlaws, which looks like a good game so far.
Someone has to fact check me. I just remember seeing this where a game released and it had a physical box. That's the key word, a box. When you open the box, it's like a normal Xbox whatever thing, and on the inside was a code. And it's like, why even do that? Like, it's just
Nintendo Switch is really bad about that. They have a lot of games that do that. Working at GameStop, I would have to sell these to people, and they'll like put a thing on there. It's like digital code only, no cartridge in here. But it's like, one, why are we wasting so much plastic to make the box? Like, if it's a code, just give the code. Yep. That's all you need. I guess that's them trying to go for that collector area that I was mentioning, that like people that like to display a case on their shelves be like, yeah, I love this game, I'm buying it to show on my shelf. But like, that's such the wrong way to go about it. Like,
they could open up a storefront and just be like, hey, customize your own little case and you can get your favorite game.
Yeah, no, that would be good. I'm actually all for that.
Trademark it right now.
If I could get some remade GameCube cases right now, I would be 100% for that.
Trademark this before they steal it. Clip it, do something.
Right? Oh, I would 100% be for that. Yeah, all these companies definitely want to go away from physical media because it cuts down their prices and they still get to fully price them on their digital stores. Like, digital games should not be the same price as physical. That's 100% true. But they get away with it because, I don't know, it's stupid. They pull this move where they're like, oh, games aren't as expensive as they should be because of the price it makes them to make them. It's like, that's your own fault that you're spending so much money to make these games.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to overbloat this game. The gaming industry is in such a fucking frustrating area right now. But the digital versus physical media standpoint, it's just one that sooner or later physical is gonna just be gone. It probably is. That's just being realistic. It's probably gonna end up that way. Xbox might release their next console and it won't have a disc drive, and Sony will do the same thing with the PlayStation. And people will be upset, but they're still gonna buy it because, hey, that's the new PlayStation, that's the new Xbox, I want to play these games. There definitely needs to be something in place, though, to account for all the utility that we are losing with physical media going out the door.
So I have a quick point to hit on because I kind of like in my notes I can see a live action like, oh, I made a point, but then wait, this is just gonna negate it. So many times we see games leak before release dates, and I'm looking at, I think it was Tears of the Kingdom, that physical copies got out in the wild before the release, and people were streaming it, people were playing it. The whole game itself, the file was ripped and uploaded online. and this is where I start to like counter my own point here. I think if we had a digital release, you would negate the physical. But at the same time, too, I look at the Insomniac hack. They took everything from them. Who's to say this random hacker group can't just pop into a server? I know there's more technical terms here, but I certainly don't do that stuff. They could just hack the game from Insomniac or Nintendo and take it that way. But maybe there's a chance these games don't get leaked as much. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to here.
I really don't think so, because it's just a different way that people are going to get the game early.
Yeah.
I remember the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and that'd be like, what, 2009, I think? Maybe 2010. I remember stories of people like breaking into vehicles, delivering those games to like GameStop and different game stores and stealing them because they wanted the game early. Nothing is really safe in the world these days. No. That's just kind of a scary way to look at it. Obviously, digital security has to be really firm for all these companies, but I don't really know that you're gonna completely stop leaks by just focusing on a digital area.
Some dude's gonna be in the back of a van and like, I'm getting past the firewall. That's just, you know, the hackers are gonna hack. Now, you made a point about Xbox and all this. One can argue if we didn't have digital gaming libraries, services like Game Pass wouldn't exist. Now, I'm going to shout out some really, it's going to date me here, but services like GameFly. Yeah, that could have been the thing, or the physical Game Pass, but I don't think that works in the same way that Game Pass does. You know, you can go to like the grocery store and there's like Redbox where you can get a movie or whatever. Blockbuster, of course, the classic here. But I don't think a service like Game Pass would work with physical media. I think the thing of having it right here to be like, hey, download Hellblade 2 tomorrow or today. That's the appeal. That's what makes Game Pass Game Pass. PlayStation Plus, and then Nintendo Switch Online, even though it's really pretty bad. But, you know, I don't think any of this would work with physical media. Game Pass would work.
I honestly have no idea how GameFly lasted as long as they did, because that seems so... I don't know. If I really want to play a game that's on Game Pass, I can just go to my console right now. I can download it. I can stream it too. Like, that's amazing utility right there. Like, Game Pass is such an amazing subscription because, one, the games, and then two, just the ease of use. With GameFly, okay, I want to play Gears of War 5, but I don't own it. Okay, let me go to my computer. Let me put an order in. I'm going to pay for this. It's going to get to me in 3 to 4 business days. Then I'm going to install it. Oh, now I got to send it back. Like, I never understood why anyone would want to do that. I get that some people, I think they had a thing where they were like, oh, we don't need to pay like late fees or something. So like they would just keep the game forever. And
people are listening to this and they're like, what are they talking about? Like, what is this thing?
I never did GameFly myself, but I just don't understand. I don't understand from a business perspective how it even went as long as it did.
It's insane to me. I remember as a kid growing up, I never used it, but like the premise of a game being mailed to you, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Now, I mean, shoot, I got everything here at a click of a button. But one thing I wanted to talk about if I was defending physical media, midnight releases. This is where it gets wholesome and it's not really a factual thing. But going to GameStop at midnight, grant you my bedtime's very early nowadays, but going to the midnight releases for like Halo 3, stuff like that, meeting like-minded people, also if you want to meet like-minded people, this plug is amazing. join our Discord. The link is in the comment section down below.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on fire today. We're on Hot Topic.
Attaboy.
I gotta stop. Getting back to midnight releases. Just meeting like-minded people, the community, talking with people. They would normally have the game there to play or something to that effect. My GameStop used to get pizzas and drinks and whatever. You have a good time. That's the wholesome side of gaming that I think, you know, while we're all online, like getting together to do something and meet people that have the same interest. That's big. That's what got us here. So, yeah, I just miss the midnight release stuff.
I get it, but also nowadays no one wants to do that.
Yeah,
Like that. I want my game to be installed beforehand, and the moment that it's available, I want to play it. I don't. So, growing up, I lived in a farm town because I live in Iowa. I would have to drive 30 minutes to pick up a game physically. Yeah, you get there and there's like a party and stuff. I remember Modern Warfare 3 when that released. Like, the GameStop I was at was packed. Like, it was standing room only. And it was not a smaller store. It was pretty big for a GameStop. And it was just absolutely packed. And there was pizza and there was music and people playing all these other Call of Duty games. And, like, yeah, that was awesome. But, like, there are other avenues to have a party like that. You don't have to do it at midnight in a store where you're just waiting in the cold often and all that stuff. When I was working at GameStop, they still do midnight releases for some games. Well, that was before the pandemic. I don't know how they do it now. But, like, we would get some games that we were like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And we got enough people to bring it in to do a midnight release. But maybe 4 people would show up. Like, no one wants to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I get there's that nostalgia. Like, oh yeah, this was awesome. It was so cool to be around this. Man, just fucking make a party. Be like, hey, let's play this game. Let's do a LAN party. Like, that kind of stuff is still available. It's just that you got to do it yourself rather than, hey, there's an event here that I'm gonna go to.
Oh no, I'm suggesting that for the youth out there watching this channel. I'm 27. I got an early bedtime and everything. I don't want to be out there doing all this stuff. I'm downloading my games. One last thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of for both sides. Do we see the fall off of special edition games? I'm talking about like the OG special edition back here, and I rehearsed where I'm pointing. Right there, I have the Halo 3 Legendary Edition Master Chief's helmet, like that type of special edition. And if we're gonna relate it to today, Star Wars Outlaw, the special edition, is pretty much, and it's hilarious that we're talking about this, it's all DLC and a digital art book. It's just mind-blowing, and I think it's those things that add to the game as well. Like, I look back at that Master Chief helmet, and I'm like, man, Halo 3 was awesome. I'm gonna play it, or whatever. You know, I just think it takes away from the experience of a game's release, because, again, opinions up front matter. Like, this is your first impression. Whenever I got Gears of War 3, I had the Marcus Phoenix statue back there, and it's like, I pulled it out of the box, I remember it all. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play this game. This is gonna be awesome. I just want to get back to those days, those special editions of all these fun games.
Physical collector's editions really peaked in the Xbox 360, PS3 era. I had the Mortal Kombat 9. They were like the book holders.
Yep.
It was Sub-Zero on one side and Scorpion on the other. I had the Batman Arkham City statue. Those were amazing. And I think companies have really gone away from putting hard work into their collector's editions. On one hand, I know some people like to complain about not including the game in a collector's edition. I actually love that because being a digital person, I could still go out and be like, yeah, no, I want to buy this. Like, this statue is awesome. I want all this other stuff as well, but I already own the game on my console. Like, I don't want to buy the game again. The problem there is companies always get away with selling those collector's editions for the same price. They don't take into account that the game's not available in it.
Yep.
They're upcharging it. So that sucks. But yeah, no. Ubisoft is a very bad company when it comes to their extra editions. They always have been, and even now when companies are doing less of that, Ubisoft is like doubling down on it, and they're wondering why people are getting turned off by their games. I love a good physical collector's edition though. It is so cool. I would rather have that than a disc in a case to show off. Just like statues are just so cool to me, and the physical art books. The digital stuff that you're talking about, it's like, yeah, I can access that at any time. But if I have an actual art book in my hands that I can flip through at any time, I don't have to download a file. And it just looking at that stuff through a computer or on your console itself, which is never a good idea for that stuff, because like I'm there to play a game. I don't want to look at this art stuff. It just makes so much more sense to be physical in that area.
Yeah, like, I have the Halo Reach statue. I can't point for whatever reason. It's those things that add to the experience. That one came with, like, a whole bunch of, like, other, like, files on each of the team. Like, did I ever read them? I read a few of them, but, like, playing the game, I'm like, whoa, like, this is what was mentioned in the special edition, like, little pamphlets or whatever. I just like that. I think, again, we were talking about collectors and they want to display things. That's the thing they could offer up and be like, hey, get this, a special edition of, I don't know, Halo Infinite. It comes with, I don't know, a Needler statue. That'd be awesome. But, you know, it's those little things that add to the experience.
I'll never forget the Juggernog edition for one of the Black Ops games that came with a mini fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Of a Juggernog machine. Like, that was the coolest thing to me, being a big Zombies fan. Yeah, I wish we would get back to that. I know the Elden Ring DLC has a very cool statue coming up that they're also selling. It's insanely expensive, but like stuff like that for the like really hardcore dedicated player that wants to put down that extra money is okay in my book. But it has to be a physical thing. I do not want a digital art book. I don't want a digital soundtrack. No, we've got Spotify and stuff. I don't need a digital soundtrack. Like,
I was about to say, who listens to the soundtrack in the game? Like,
right?
Just pop it up on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, physical collector's editions are something I really miss. I know I'm all digital from a game standpoint, but on the physical side, I would love for more good collector's editions.
There also comes that point where we were talking about Fallout 76. It's like you get the digital edition of the game and you get the physical like collector's edition. But things like the bag, it was called Baggate, I think, or something like that. And it's
that
like,
was a very bad. That was Bethesda being really shitty, though.
Yeah,
like that. 100%, they deserved all the bad will they got. The game was bad, plus that was compounded by all the issues with the physical edition. They also had I think there was a helmet that had mold in it.
Yep.
That it would mold up, and yeah, that was just a really bad time for Bethesda from just every standpoint. Really, it was just bad. You gotta expect more out of these billion-dollar companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we're in a little bit of a golden age now with the show, with everything happening. 76 is apparently back on track in a way. So who knows? Who knows where we go from here? But do you have any final points here on this physical versus digital debate?
I think we are heading to a point where physical games just won't be a thing. I think you'll still have them like from like limited run. You'll have special cases for them. But at some point I do see a time where everything will be digital only. That's kind of sad, but from an easy use point, kind of it's a situation where not one answer is the perfect thing. Like, we need both. We need the digital and we need the physical to both exist. I do worry about a future where we only focus on digital because there's so many areas where that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm. I just worry about choice. Like, one day, if I just feel like getting a physical copy of the game, Normally, all my Switch games I get physical. That's like the only thing I do nowadays. I get the physical Switch games. That's it. No Xbox, PlayStation, nothing. But yeah, if that happens going forward, I gotta subscribe to NSO, then I gotta do all this stuff. But who knows? Who knows? This, as of right now, is just a far-off dream, and we hopefully want to keep it like that. But this is my favorite part of the episode, where we pass it off to you guys. What are your thoughts about this? Digital, physical, what side are you on here? And will you adapt a fully digital library? It's a thing that I subconsciously did. Now I'm like looking back on it, I'm like, oh, let's see where this all goes. But that about does it here for this episode of Hot Topic. We got links to the Discord channel in the comments section down below. We got links to the site where you guys can check up on all the need-to-know gaming information. We got guides, everything there, ready to go for you guys. Also, too, Saturday is Game Sandwich's anniversary. I'm going to pass it off to you to talk a little bit more about this.
Oh man, 1 year Game Sandwich on 420. Perfect date for a site based on a sandwich, huh? Yeah, no, it's been awesome. We appreciate everyone that's checked us out, and hopefully we'll be able to keep making content that you enjoy in the future.
There we go. And with all that being said, we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's debate or want your weekly dose of gaming news content, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for content just like this. And we'll see you guys next time.